This is the third video in a series that we're doing to help homeowners understand why it's important that they participate in the property tax protesting process. Reason 3 is that the money adds up. If you don't protest, you will likely pay more in property taxes than you have to over the long run. However, consistent annual participation in the process is likely to lead to the creation of thousands of dollars in value for you and your family. I'm sure you recall that my brother and I reside in Utopia County, and it's been a great year. A new shale formation was found. That means oil, Texas tea, black gold, whatever you like to call it, will be generating millions of dollars for the local economy. Not only did we find oil in our backyard, we found gold in the front. It is indeed a great time to live in Utopia, especially for my brother. It turns out that all the natural resources on his property, but I'm happy for him, I guess. That's something I don't control, and I'm committed to concerning myself only with those things that I can affect. I was doing some research and discovered that in a prior year, the average residential property tax protester that completed their protest received a reduction of almost 8% on their assessed value. I also discovered that over 70% of those protesters were successful. And I thought, that's something I've never done before. Now, I know Bob over at the appraisal district does the best that he can, but with the mass appraisal techniques that he's forced to use, I better verify that his opinion of value is the most favorable that I can obtain. My preliminary assessment is $150,000. If I get a reduction that matches the historical average, my assessment will go down by $12,000. Last year, the property tax rate was 3%. Assuming that it stays the same, I'll save about $360 in property taxes. There's a lot I could do with $360. I could fill up at the pump a few more times, or I could take the kids out to a ball game, or maybe I'll just put the money away for a rainy day. As I thought about it more, I realized that I could actually save a lot of money, an amount much greater than $360. So I sat down and did the math. In any given year, I estimate that there's a 25 to 40% chance that I'm going to be overassessed. Bob is a professional, and it's highly unlikely that he would get my assessment wrong every year. For the sake of this analysis, I'm going to use 33%. So I expect to save about $120 per year. I'm still a relatively young guy, and I'm going to be living in a house paying property taxes for another 30, 40, 50, hopefully 60 plus years. Over the next 30 years, assuming the value of my home is increasing modestly at a rate of about 2% per year, Bob gets my assessment incorrect just 1 out of every 3 years. In those years, I obtain a reduction of 8%, and I wisely invest my savings, receiving a 5% return. I'd be $10,000 richer. It's not all money, but it beats a stick in the eye. If I just spent the money immediately, receiving no return on invested capital, I'd still be $5,000 richer. If I did really well investing and got a 10% return, my property tax savings could grow to over $25,000. That's a lot of money, and I've decided I owe it to myself and my family to be vigilant about evaluating the need for a protest every year, and if so, completing the process. So what does all that mean? I may not have any windfall gains in my future, but simply by controlling the things that I can create a lot of value for myself, and you can too. I know for a fact that Texas property tax protesters have historically been successful. The savings realized may vary from year to year, but if done consistently, protesting will pay off. And that's one more reason to participate in the property tax protesting process.